Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to PWR today for January 11th, 2021. I'm the man they call Meathead, and it is a beautiful Monday morning, whatever city you're in. And our lovely Linda Kay, what's that I hear that you're not in Milwaukee, which is Algonquin for the good land?
Yes, I am currently in the Ville, good old Louisville.
I heard you were down there for a
Partaking. Yes. This past Saturday night, it was OVW's Nightmare Rumble.
Ooh.
It was tremendous.
How'd our boy Fanny Pack Kid do?
He did great. He was in the Rumble. I think he was somewhere in the middle, coming in, doing his thing, and yeah, great to see our friend, our pal, Cal Hero, do his thing in the ring at the Rumble. Yeah, pals. But yeah, it was an awesome experience. Very grateful that I got to do some of the pre-tape interviews. I got to do some of the announcing during some of the dark matches, and it was just tremendous to see on hand. And we're able to have an audience half the capacity of the Davis Arena, and sure, the crowd was hot. Just hearing feedback from everyone, it sounds like everyone thought it was a great show, great production, and just a brighter future ahead for OVW.
Nice. Hey, so just to make sure, we didn't have anybody having their grub worm hanging out, right, at the pay-per-view? That didn't happen?
No, I did catch some backsides, but not grub worm.
All right, let's talk about our sponsors.
Which is a great segue.
Yeah, let's talk about Collar and Elbow. I mean, let's walk right into that. Let's talk about our friends down at Collar and Elbow brand.com. Head on over to collarandelbowbrand.com. Use the promo code PWR360. Save yourself 10%. You know what shirt I'm kind of into right now? It was the Spanish Good Brothers shirt. Did you see that? It said Bueno Hermanos. Like with Sugar Skull, kind of the skeleton heads. I love that shirt. That might be my next one. Buenos Hermanos. collarandelbowbrand.com. 10% off when you're using PWR360. And our friends at manscaped.com are also helping us out. 20% off plus free shipping if you use the promo code PWR. They've got a lot of stuff that's keeping you silky smooth. Again, once you get silky smooth, get the Collar and Elbow brand gear. Get yourself warmed up, because you can't be walking around silky smooth and not wearing anything. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Well, let us talk about what happened on Friday night. You've heard us on this very program. We've talked about it. Myself and Dave have talked about it. Damian, Matthew. We are big friends and big fans of Scrap Daddy AP. We like bringing up his name. I mean, honestly, the one time I was in a wrestling match, Scrap Iron Adam Pearce was at that show as well at Romines. I don't think you were there, Linda. That was '99. It was a battle royal, but Adam Pearce was at the show. Now I can say that I have been in a wrestling card along with somebody who's going to be in the main event of Royal Rumble.
There you go. How about that? 2021, hey?
Yeah, how about that? And, here's the irony of this. We talked about this right before we went on the air. Scrap Daddy, as Paul Heyman called him, because they were calling him WWE official Adam Pearce. Heyman comes up and calls him Scrap Daddy AP. And he says, we know that you've got a history. We know you've worked around the world. He goes, man, I haven't had a match in about 6 years. I'm like, 6 years. I wonder if that 6 years was in December. I wonder if that was in Waukesha. We have to find out. We got to reach out to Scrap Daddy and ask him, was that last match against our close, dear personal friend, Rashi the Skull Crusher Brown, at a Blizzard Brawl?
Yeah. When you brought that up, I had to think back. There was an interview that Adam Pearce had backstage at Blizzard Brawl, done by, of course, legendary Mean Gene Okerlund.
With that PWR
and it got me
flag
thinking. And I remember taking a picture for Scrap Daddy of him and Mean Gene, and he took one for me. And I didn't know him well, but obviously, being a part of the show, got to know him, and I do remember that moment with that interview. And if this is what he was referring to, it's all coming back to me now.
It's amazing how this stuff all just kind of works. It's kind of secular. It all comes around a circle. I was at the show as well. I didn't have as much to do as you did. I basically was drinking, but I did have. I don't know if you remember this. I did have post shows work to do with you and Damien.
Yeah.
We did interviews at the end, and that was it was right after the match. Rashi came out and kissed Damien on the forehead or on the side of the head or something. He goes, "I love you, brother." It was awkward.
Yeah, I can check back because on Facebook there's the Facebook memories
Yeah, I
that
love
come up,
memories.
and
It's the only
every
part of Facebook I
time,
like.
every time it's in like the beginning of December, all the phenomenal memories of Blizzard Brawl pop up. And I do have a picture of me and Gene, so it would have been that same night. So maybe I can kind of rewind back and look back, but that could be it. That could be what Adam Pierce was referencing.
Well, that's great. And again, we love Scrap Daddy. He had a lot more hair back then when I saw him in '99 at Romines in the Battle Royal, wearing a cane mask, so nobody saw him do the run in our match. But it was a big thing. I remember this way back in the day because in Milwaukee there was two big independent wrestling groups. It was Great Lakes Championship Wrestling, run by our friend David Hero, as you guys all know, and there was also Mid American Wrestling. Linda, did you get involved or see any Mid American Wrestling shows?
No, I was not a part of that, and
Oh, I miss Carmine. Carmine Despirito.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of great stuff with Carmine Show as well, and a Mid American show that happened. I want to say it was a couple of years ago. Kind of broke the internet. I don't know if you remember this story. It was like I forget exactly what he called it. It was either a Mid American reunion show or an anniversary show, but a masked wrestler showed up at the show, and it was none other than CM Punk, a former Mid American champion.
Mm.
And again, think about the lineage in Mid American. I mean, who else worked there? Mr. Ken Anderson, Kamikaze Ken Anderson. I mean, there were so many talents that went through there. Good
No,
stuff.
I wish yeah. I mean, I wish I could have caught the shows that you did back when.
Way back, and that's that's really where the Crusher. I mean, that's how I got to meet the Crusher, was through these through these connections. Carmine, and that's how Blizzard Brawl started. It was supposed to be the Crusher tribute show. Remember that, how that all kind of started?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, amazing
Wow,
stuff.
think about it.
Think about the history that we've seen without even knowing we were watching it. Amazing. Let's talk about SmackDown from Friday night, and that's kind of where we were going there, and then we started running down, memory lane. I want to talk about the match with Apollo Crews and Big E. It was a pretty by-the-numbers match until the false finish where both shoulders were down, and they called it a draw. Apollo Crews slaps Big E. Big E wasn't having it. I thought the match was over in about 10 seconds there. After, the big 3-4 moves that Big E put on, but then they carried on another 5-6 minutes. Your winner and still Intercontinental Champion Big E. What did you think about the fire that came out of Big E the second that Apollo slapped him across the face?
Well, we know, we've discussed it too, about certain things just lighting that fire
Triggers
in Big E, where you get that fun playful Big E, and then all of a sudden you have this other side. I mean, that false finish, when I saw that, I mean, that was obviously a 3 count, but I didn't realize that Apollo's shoulders were down too, because the camera angle we got was just showing Big E's, and I was like, oh no. I was like, no, they can't take that title off Big E. No. As we know, he's on Team Long Time, but I'm also
a title got taken off of somebody tonight, but that wasn't it.
Yeah. I know we'll get to that too, but then they went to commercial break, and then I don't know if that was meant to happen, but then we got that slap and that heat. I'm like, okay, this works. And we still got a great match following that, and that slap lit up that fire in Big E. I mean, I think that would light up anyone's fire to get smacked in the face like that.
Oh yeah, trust me. I mean, I would have put the belt right in his face after I pinned him and said, "Boy, don't you ever slap me again." I mean, because that's what I would have done.
The title. in his hand. I thought that might have come into play too, but instead, he did hand it to the ref and went on with the match.
Well, Big E wins and defends his Intercontinental Championship against Apollo Crews. Let's just get it out of the way. My boys, the Street Profits, are no longer champions. They lose. And what is the name of the team again? Are they the Raw Dogs? What are Rude and Ziggler calling themselves?
No, Dirty Dogs.
They're Raw Dogging everybody. Is that what it is?
Pretty much. Or yeah. They came out. I thought they were going to wear their new Dirty Dog merchandise or t-shirts, but they came out in their new apparel, their pink matching tights. But hey, that's great to see a tag team in matching tights.
And they had the Dirty Dog logo on the tights.
They did reference that again in the end. I mean, across the screen, it still said their names, but I think it was Corey Graves that mentioned, the Dirty Dogs and Dirty Action, Dirty Play.
I've made an executive decision here. They're Raw Dogs.
It's DAWGS though. Dogs. Raw Dog, Dirty Dog. Same old.
Raw Dog entire tag team division.
Oh yeah, but good thing they're not on Monday Night Raw, because then they could be the Dirty Raw Dogs. Okay. Anyways, that was surprising to me. Yeah, those were your boys, the Street Profits.
At least it wasn't a loss on pay-per-view.
That is true.
And if they get a rematch on pay-per-view, maybe.
That could work into your favor, but that surprised me. I mean, we've talked about this, how Street Profits have retained their title. Granted, it was mainly on Raw this year, but, when the draft happened, they swapped the belts with New Day, and they, are still the Smackdown tag team champs, but obviously not for long. We've got the new Dirty Dogs. I don't know.
Well, it is what it is. Hopefully there's no injuries, nothing's wrong with the guys, but here we're new champions, Ziggler and Rude, and they call him the Glorious Robert Roode, so they're still using Glorious, but that music is missing and it just doesn't do it for me. Set up earlier in the night was the gauntlet match to determine the number one contender and the person who would take on the head of the table at the Royal Rumble. Sami Zayn's documentarians, I love it, because all you have to do is take off, any kind of press credentials or whatever and put on t-shirts that say that, you're a documentarian, and you can put actual cameramen there to just walk around and film Sami Zayn. It's perfect. I love it. It works for me. He getting beat right away by Rey Mysterio in seconds is the way it should be, because it adds to the conspiracy theory. Mm-hmm. But this was built to get us. This whole night was built for Scrap Daddy. We just know it. With the opening promo that went on for a good 20 minutes, they showed everything that Adam Pearce has been doing to Roman Reigns, and you knew that it led itself right to it, that Roman Reigns is going to walk Adam Pearce right up there, make him the number one contender, so he can just beat the crap out of him at the Royal Rumble. That's literally where it was. Rey Mysterio gets beat by Shinsuke. Shinsuke lasts over. Rey Mysterio beats King Corbin and beats Daniel Bryan. But then at the end, bring on Adam Pearce, beat the crap out of Shinsuke, throw Adam Pearce on top of Shinsuke, the new number one contender. Man who hasn't had a match in 6 years. He said, look, I can't beat the referee, let alone beat Roman Reigns. I haven't had a match in 6 years. New number one contender is Scrap Daddy AP, Adam Pearce.
Yeah, in a way, this is great for AP. The way this whole thing was packaged, as you said at the beginning of the episode,
his night
spent all that time. Yeah. And then just that backstage vignette with Paul Heyman, Paul kind of introducing the accolades, if you will.
Paul, you know what Paul did? We don't sell pay-per-views anymore, right? We don't sell tickets. We're not carnival barkers. Paul sold us on Adam Pearce.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, especially those who may not know much about Adam Pearce. They got a little bit of that feedback right there and got to know that he's
Corey Graves did a little last
he's wrestled around the world. I'm sorry?
Yeah. Corey did some as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
said, look,
absolutely.
Adam's been around the world. He's been a champion. But, he's never been in WWE. He admitted he wasn't good enough to make it.
Yeah, even Michael Cole said that he was like, but it wasn't good enough. I was like, I tend to disagree on that. He was definitely.
Too.
Yeah.
Good.
But obviously it helped play into him being walked out or escorted to the ring by Roman Reigns, and just how everything was set up where, first of all, I enjoyed that gauntlet match just from Rey Mysterio to Sami Zayn's shenanigans, and
Yeah.
then Shinsuke lasting, quite a long time in that match. He had a great match with King Corbin, and then of course with Daniel Bryan. Seeing the two of those, I truly enjoyed that match. Seeing all the kicks and the strikes, I thought that was a tremendous match itself, and
the handshake at the end too.
Yeah, so you kind of see Shinsuke as like, oh, is this a way to have him face again? I don't know, because he's still technically tag teams with Cesaro, but then with Roman coming out and having Jey Uso and Roman Reigns back out Shinsuke, and what does that mean?
Yeah.
I don't know, but obviously then AP getting placed on him, that's a tremendous way to end SmackDown. And it's like, are they really gonna continue with this? Like, is Adam Pearce really gonna get back in the ring for that title shot at the Royal Rumble? Like, what will transpire in the next 3 weeks?
Well, I mean, let's be completely clear and honest. It would be the U.S. hockey team beating Russia in the 1980 Olympics if Adam Pearce wins the belt. It's not going to happen. Okay. However, that doesn't mean we're not going to enjoy it. Just like we said, it's not going to happen when Jay was going to take on Roman. It's not going to happen when Kevin Owens was going to take on Roman. He is not winning this belt. But you know what? It's a job well done to Adam Pearce. Here you go, kid. Here's the main event at one of our 4 major pay-per-views. I'm absolutely over the moon about it. I enjoy it. Granted, we didn't put him there, but we're all kind of proud to know that he wrestled here in the Milwaukee area for such a long time. We're happy to see him on a WWE pay-per-view, like I said, in the main event of one of the 4 major pay-per-views at the biggest company in the world.
Absolutely. Physically, he looks well. He looks good. I mean, it was great to see him out, not in a suit on WWE programming.
That's the closest he can get to probably his ring gear, because he wore almost like a Robert Roode type of robe.
Robe, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, him having that jacket, the way that's the closest he can get to looking like Scrap Daddy AP in what he's allowed to wear. We'll see what he wears on the Royal Rumble. Maybe it's something close to that.
Yeah.
The last time we seen him on major television wrestle, he was in the TNA Gut Check.
Yep.
So, I mean, our good friend Uncle Al was one of the judges. I think it was Al, Bruce Pritchard, and I don't know who else it was. It might have been Flair, might have been Foley, but yeah, good to see.
I remember Adam Pearce on the Gut Check. Yeah. So, yeah, just tremendous how everything is just into place, and getting our good friend Adam Pearce into that big spotlight, and we
absolutely
really curious to see what's going to happen between him and Roman leading up.
Yeah, because he said he didn't want it, and he said it was a conflict of interest. But we have no conflict of interest when we talk about Raw for tonight. We have got a couple things cooking. One, last week, Goldberg returned on Legends Night, went right for Drew McIntyre. That match is going to happen. It's going to be McIntyre and Goldberg at the Royal Rumble for his heavyweight championship, or his WWE championship, excuse me. And we're also going to get tonight, McIntyre is going head-to-head with Randy Orton again. How's that going to work out? And what's going on with, he didn't set Alexa Bliss on fire, technically, but are we going to get some build off of that? We've got a lot of stuff happening tonight on Raw. What are you looking forward to?
Would be nice to see. I mean, we know the Fiend was lit on fire, but he's technically not fully gone either, due to Alexa Bliss coming in. Like, his spirit is still there. He is still among us, and that chapter wasn't really shut between him and Randy. So last week was Legends Night, so it put Randy in that forefront of getting in the faces with all the legends and creating heat in that regard, but not the heat from the fire with the Fiend.
Not the Latino heat that you're speaking of.
Heat, yes. But the whole thing with Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton, I thought that chapter was closed, but apparently that's coming back. It just seems like a lot, because then you would think there would be another face-to-face between Drew and Goldberg, considering when Raw went off the air last week, it just kind of left us hanging.
Right.
I
The
want
whole
another.
timing of that segment was terrible, and apparently Drew McIntyre got a Claymore on Goldberg after they went off the air. So the timing of it, remember, it's live. They don't have the overrun on Raw
Yes,
or SmackDown anymore.
I know.
So
I
it's
missed
funny though.
that. I
They
was
get the
thinking to
overrun
myself,
on
we need
NXT.
that.
They get the
Yeah.
overrun on NXT on Wednesdays.
I don't
Maybe it's the
know,
fact that
but
they don't have competition on Mondays and Fridays, but on Wednesdays they have competition.
that's a good point. Yeah. But no, it's funny you bring this up because I was thinking like, oh, I would bet they wish they had that overrun still because even the week before that with
Right,
Randy and the match,
and they just left it on
the,
Randy's face.
yeah.
You know, the best
Yeah.
overrun I ever seen, the longest overrun too, was the unmasking of Kane when he was tag team partners with RVD. And he lifted
Mm.
off his mask for the first time and he had all the burns on his face and the
Yeah.
half hair.
The hair, yeah.
Luckily for me, I always scheduled my overrun for 20 minutes. And luckily I caught it because that was almost exactly 25 minutes after.
Wow.
So, wow. Hey, that's a crisp and clean 20 minutes, Linda Kay. Are you ready to go? We're done. That's it. We've given the people what they want.
Well, that's because the Packers didn't play this weekend, so we didn't have that little extra
See, they didn't have to. They're the
chatter.
number one team in the NFC.
Yeah, yeah. But
Next week,
we'll talk
Packers Rams. Let's get that done.
We'll
All right. For Linda Kay, I'm the man they call Meathead. Hey, thanks for stopping by. So long, everyone.